The Tampa Bay Lightning look to keep their momentum going, beginning a two-game road trip in Pittsburgh. What can the Lightning do to take this victory, and how key will their forwards be?
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Josh Sperber here, thanking all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Tampa Bay Lightning, then this is the podcast for you. Josh Sperber here. Today's episode is sponsored by Indeed. Still searching for a great candidate for your company? Don't search, just match with Indeed. And indeed, the Lightning are going on the road. They have been stronger at home this season. Tampa 6-1-1 at home, 3-5-0 on the road. But they have won their last two games against two of the top teams in the league. Today, they go against the Pittsburgh Penguins, currently 7th of 8 in the Metropolitan Division, 7 wins, 10 losses, and 3 overtime losses for the Pens, but plenty of talent on that Pittsburgh team that you can't really look past. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, getting up there in age, but still both lethal on the offensive side. Anthony Beauvillier has been leading the Penguins over the last two games with 3 goals and 2 assists. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are looking to improve on the road. So, what is going to be key for the Lightning to do that? Well, first is the defense. It's just got to play the way that it's played in the last two games. Andrei Vasilevskiy has made close to 40 saves in the last two games with just 1 goal allowed against the Devils and the Jets. And part of that is because that 300th win was a massive performance, and it seemed to, at least in the game afterwards as well, it got Vasilevskiy back on track. I think he's still going to need some help from his defense, but I'd expect another solid game from Vasilevskiy tonight. I think he's gotten himself back to the level that he is used to playing at, and hopefully won't have a slump or anything like that. Won't have, he might have a run of things that can happen at some point to a goalie in a season, but Vasilevskiy over the last two games has looked like the big cat that everyone knows and loves. And it's hard to beat a hot goalie, no matter who you have shooting the puck. And Vasilevskiy is looking like that right now, and getting him onto a hot streak can only help the Tampa Bay Lightning. The defense is certainly going to have to help with that. Power plays are going to need to be solid as well. Both teams kind of in the middle of the pack when it comes to power play. The Lightning are slightly better on the power play by a percentage point. And the Penguins, 5 in the standings, have a penalty kill of 81%, 12th in the league, to the Lightning 79, which is 17th. And the one thing that, when you look at the stats, makes it seem like the Bolts have a big advantage is the Penguins have allowed the most goals in the league. They allow 3.9 goals per game, and they score only 2.7. The Lightning, 10th in goals a game and 6th in goals for per game. Lightning are one of the best offensive teams in the league. I don't think that is a shock to any of you who are listening. And this is a kind of game that it's weakness against strength. And the Lightning have the strength on offense. They're one of the best offensive teams in the league. And this is a kind of game that you just want to see the Lightning beat up on the Penguins, just because the Penguins' defense has not been great and the Lightning's offense has. So I'd expect to see a lot of goals on the road for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You look at Tampa when they took their when they started their last road trip, they had a great offensive performance against the Colorado Avalanche before that losing streak started. The first game of their road trip has been a win almost every time. The lone exception, a 5-4 loss to the Ottawa Senators back on October the 19th. They ended that road trip with an 8-5 win against the Devils and then started the next one with 5 goals against the Colorado Avalanche. But in the Lightning's first road game of any trip, even just the one-off road game in Carolina that was supposed to be a home and home, the Lightning typically start off their road trips with a whole lot of offense. 4-1 win against Carolina, first road game of the season. They scored 4 goals in a loss against Ottawa on the 19th to begin a 3-game road trip in a loss. And their lone win of their last road trip, a 5-goal win against the Colorado Avalanche. So the Lightning have tended to start their trips on the road with a lot of force, with a lot of aggression on the offensive side, and I'd expect nothing less against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that this is a game that the Lightning could really show their offensive prowess and run up some goals against a Penguins team that has been struggling. Offensively, they've been solid. So again, the Lightning need to continue to play well on defense, play aggressive on defense, play physical on defense. And that, I think, is going to help them get this win. I think that this could be a nice, easy win for the Lightning if they play it right. And I think that it is going to be a win. I'll be honest. I think the Lightning are playing that well right now. The Penguins, in their last couple of games, they had a shootout win over the Sharks, an overtime loss to the Devils. They are still 4-4-2 in their last 10, with their most recent win coming against San Jose, and a lot of games going into overtime. Of their last 10 games, 4 of them have gone in overtime. 2 of them have resulted in losses, one in a shootout, and then a shootout and an overtime win against San Jose and Anaheim. And that has been Pittsburgh lately. They've been struggling, and the Lightning just need to take advantage of that. It's a team that has been struggling, just kind of got themselves back on the good foot, frankly, against a team that they should beat in the Sharks. And now they're facing a potential playoff team in the Lightning. And the Lightning just won against 2 of the best teams in the league. It would kind of sully those wins a little bit if they follow up those home wins with a road loss against the Penguins, who are closer to the bottom of the league. 17 points so far for Pittsburgh. That is second to last in their division. And only the Predators, Blackhawks, Ducks, and Sharks in the West, Red Wings, Canadiens, and Blue Jackets in the East have fewer points. So the Penguins towards the bottom of the team with a minus 25 goal differential and a 500, well, a little less than 500 if you count the overtimes lost towards it. 4-4-1, the Penguins are at home. That is not a recipe for success against the Lightning team. And they've played some really good games on the road. They've beat some tough teams on the road, like New Jersey and Colorado. Regardless of the fact that the Lightning have seemed to have the Devils' number this season, this is still, I don't want to say a must-win game, but it would definitely kill the momentum, obviously, but it would just kind of sully that win streak a little bit. You know, it's hard to take away these 2 wins from Tampa Bay, not just because of the fact that they were against 2 such good teams, but because of the milestones that they were for Andrei Vasilevskiy. And you don't want to just be a team that shrinks when they leave the comforts of home. And that's not something that the Lightning are. They can still be a solid team on the road. And if they want to turn from playoff contenders to title contenders, they're going to need to win these kind of games against lower level teams in the league. So I think the Lightning are going to get a nice win over the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. I expect a lot of goals. I'm going to say a 4-2 Tampa win with an empty netter to seal it. You guys can drop your predictions in the comments or give us a message on X at LO_lightning. And we might talk about your predictions on tomorrow's show if they were close to correct. But one other prediction that we'll talk about is of a former Penguin, Jake Guentzel, who started his 3-team road to the Lightning, with the Lightning being his third team in 2024. He began his career with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it'll be the first time he faces one of his former teams as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So now I think is a good time to gauge the impact that Guentzel has had and will have on the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're driven by a search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to hire and search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need a hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. So ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more that you use Indeed, the better that it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support Locked On Lightning by saying that you heard about Indeed on this show. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. We're back on Locked On Lightning. First previewed the Penguins. Now we'll talk about a former Penguin in Jake Guentzel. Was the team he started his NHL career on back in 2016. Third round draft pick in the 2013 NHL entry draft out of Nebraska. He was traded to the Hurricanes at the deadline last year after about 8 seasons with the Penguins, playing 500 games with Pittsburgh, 466 points, 219 goals, 247 assists, with 48 power play goals for the Penguins and 64 power play assists. Guentzel was one of the biggest names moving in the offseason as the Lightning essentially signed him to replace Steven Stamkos on that front line. And so far, he has filled in beyond admirably, slightly off of his assist pace in his 17 games with the Hurricanes last year. 7 goals, 10 assists as compared to 8 and 17 in just one fewer game that he has played with the Lightning since he was traded to the Hurricanes. 17 games with Carolina last year, 8 goals, 17 assists. And that's not including playoffs, where Guentzel was a star for the Hurricanes in their relatively short postseason. But the impact that Guentzel has made on the Lightning's offense so far has, he's been one of their best offensive players. I think Kucherov has definitely been the best offensive player for the Lightning. I think that's pretty easy to say. And about Jake Guentzel, honestly, might be the second. He actually leads all Lightning offensive players with a plus or minus of 10, just 4 penalty minutes and 2 power play goals, which is second on the team to Braden Point. In fact, Guentzel is the only Lightning player besides Point with more than 1 power play goal at this moment. So I think Guentzel, honestly, has been exactly as advertised for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You know, you'd expect him to be one of their top skaters. Maybe not Kucherov's level, but few are. And he has been that. I think he has been what the Lightning expected. Maybe you'd want a little bit more on the power play. Maybe you'd want a couple more points here and there. But you can't really complain at how Jake Gensel has been on the offensive side of things. It took him a minute to, I think, get adjusted to the Lightning, but he still scored in almost every game, scored a point, I should say, in almost every game this season. And, that's really all you can expect from a solid offensive player. He stayed out of the penalty box as well. I think Gensel has been great for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And in the last 5 games, he's got a point in 2 of them. He had 2 points in each of the last 2 games, 2 assists against the Devils and 2 goals against the Winnipeg Jets. And this could be I really think that these multi-point streaks could be the start of something big. Gensel is really starting to mesh with his Lightning teammates. He is really starting to emerge as an offensive leader, and especially with Braden Point out, he's really stepped up and took a little bit more control of the puck on offense. He has just been trying to do more and fill that void that a guy like Braden Point will create when he's out of the game. And currently, he's definitely one of the best offensive players with the Tampa Bay Lightning. But when you look at some of the great players who have played with Tampa before, how will he stack up? I think it's hard to say that right now, this early in his career. But I mean, if he plays out his 7-year contract with the Lightning, I think he could really climb up some of those leaderboards. I think he's a guy who I could easily see getting in maybe even the top 10 for games played for the Lightning. But right now, Frederick Moden is 10th in the Lightning in goals at 145. And then Prospal is 10th in assists at 244. I could see Gensel cracking the top 10 in those maybe over 7 years. I think he's that elite of a scorer. He's a guy who can just produce offense no matter where he is on the ice. And they're starting to try and get him in that Stamkos role. They're trying to get him to be that power play trigger man and, just be one of the key pieces in this offense. I think especially when a new player comes to a new team, adjusting to the way the offense goes, to the way that the lines roll, to the way that the just the team plays is going to take a minute. And it really seems like Gensel has gotten more comfortable with the Lightning, more comfortable with that first forward line. Just, he's looked a lot more comfortable over the past couple of games, and it seems like things are really starting to click. And Gensel is just a really natural part of this team. I think he plays a style of hockey that the Lightning really look for. He can pass, he can shoot, but he's unselfish. He's not, he doesn't need a goal to contribute. He just needs to contribute. He needs to help put the puck on net. He, always tries to send this puck towards the center of the ice. Not a guy who's going to give you a lot physically, but he's just a smart hockey player. And I think that he could end up on the Lightning's top 10 list. Right now, Braden Point is 5th at 272. I think that is really in goals. That might be the only thing out of reach. I'd expect Jake Gensel, if he plays out the entirety of his 7-year contract with the Tampa Bay Lightning, hopefully barring major injuries. I think he's a guy who could end up on the Lightning's top 10 list. He might not pass a Kucherov, a Lecavalier, a St. Louis. Stamkos's numbers might be a bit too tall for him as well, but I think he could definitely be a guy who gets on the top 10 scoring list for the Lightning. Might not, have his number retired, might not be in the Lightning Hall of Fame, but I think Jake Gensel could be remembered as a Lightning great. He is if he keeps playing like this, he's gelling so well with the team that I really think the sky's the limit for him. And that I think is going to land him on the Lightning top 10 list if he stays along. But there's one guy who I don't think he'll pass, and that's Nikita Kucherov. 1 point away from 900 in his career. And if you look on the Lightning leaderboard, there are only two Lightning players with more points in team history. That's St. Louis and Steven Stamkos. We'll talk about Nikita Kucherov's start to the season and how he may end up in his Lightning career. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including the great state of Florida. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Join over 10 million users and sign up today, because when you sign up to Prize Picks today, you can get $50 instantly when you play just 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, like today, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25%. That provide even more value for your lineup. So you think Nikita Kucherov will get a goal against the Penguins tonight? What about Jake Gensel? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this hockey season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. So download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDONNHL, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And if you have pain, you should run to The Joint. I was able to go for some back pain, and it has remarkably almost erased my pain entirely. The staff of The Joint were so friendly and so helpful, and they were able to quickly diagnose my pain and even tell me just little things that I can do, something as simple as the way I sit that could help me with my back pain and help me keep it away. They gave me a stretching program, which I'm still on, that has kept the pain at bay. And they did some stretches on me that I don't even know how I'd repeat. That helped a whole lot. So if you have back pain, joint pain, go to The Joint Chiropractic. They have 23 locations in the Tampa Bay area. And if you go to Buccaneers.com, fans, contests, and promotions, you can get your first visit for just $19. And trust me, it is worth it. We are back here on Locked On Lightning, and we're going to talk about one of the best players on the Tampa Bay Lightning, probably the best offensive player and one of the best players, not just now, but in franchise history. Nikita Kucherov, 6th all-time in games played, likely to move into the number 5 spot and pass Alex Killorn this season. In goals, he has 331, a really good year. Could pass Martin St. Louis and move him into 3rd place. He is currently 34 goals away from tying Marty, while Victor Hedman has moved himself 5 assists away from becoming the franchise leader. Nikita Kucherov is hot on his heels. St. Louis leads the Lightning with 588 assists. Nikita Kucherov is 20 behind him with 568. I fully expect tonight to be the night that Nikita Kucherov becomes the 3rd member of the Lightning to pass 900 points with the franchise. He is at 899 and has scored a goal in almost scored a point in almost every game this season. And that would also put Kucherov 237 behind Stamkos, who is the only 4-digit point scorer in Lightning history. Kucherov also has a plus-minus of 143. That's 3rd all-time, at top behind Andre Palat and the captain, Victor Hedman. 5th in power play goals with 89, and that's something else I expect him to do this season. I think 11 power play goals for Kucherov is a possibility, and that would move him into third all time. So there are plenty of Lightning leaderboards that he can get himself higher on. And even in the regular season, he's top 10 in just about everything. 26 points puts him at ninth. In assists, he's got 15, which makes him just outside of the top 10, tied at 10th with 15 assists. In goals, Kucherov is eighth with 11 goals, tied with Dylan Larkin and a whole lot more, including Kirill Kaprizov, who has been a big story for the Minnesota Wild. So where is Kucherov going to end up on the leaderboards? With the Lightning, I fully expect him, if he finishes his career with Tampa, he could end up being their all-time offensive leader. Points, assists, power play goals, even strength goals, goals in total. I mean, any single stat I think is up for grabs with Nikita Kucherov. He has already proven himself one of the best offensive players in Lightning history. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. He is not slowed down at all. If anything, it just seems like he's getting better every year. And this year, he's really established, last couple of years, he's really established himself as one of the best players in not just Lightning history, but in the NHL right now. He needs 224 goals to pass Steven Stamkos. I think that's going to take a while, but it can certainly happen. The only thing the one thing you can really guarantee is assists. I think as good as Victor Hedman has been, the pace that Nikita Kucherov is on is so far ahead of Hedman or really anyone that we've seen in franchise history. So Hedman will definitely be the first to top St. Louis, but by the end of this season, I think Nikita Kucherov will be the all-time leader in Lightning assists. That does mean he needs to get a lot going on Victor Hedman, but I think it's certainly possible. Kucherov and Hedman, I think, are guaranteed to pass Marty St. Louis' 580 assist mark this season. Points in total, he'll move into second all-time this season. He needs 54 points to do that, and I think that he could even have that by the All-Star break. So, Nikita Kucherov is just one of those guys that he's a quieter player. Doesn't talk as much to the media, not, a flashy superstar. He's just a guy who comes in to the rink and gets his job done. And he just does it better than most people. And he has just been so consistent over his Tampa Bay Lightning career. And he hasn't scored less than 20 goals in a season since his opening year and hasn't finished a season with his first season. He played 52 games, 9 goals and 9 assists. After that, his lowest point total was 65 in his second season. 4 times he has scored over 100 points. 4 times. Unbelievable. Including, of course, his 144-point season last year where he won the Art Ross. And this year, I think he could win the Hart Trophy. I truly believe that with the amount of people that thought the Lightning were going to struggle, if you watched the Locked On NHL podcast yesterday, I had a conversation with Gil Martin about, how the Lightning have really defied expectations for the season. People expected a lot worse from them with Stamkos leaving, but Kucherov has been one of the many guys that has stepped up, and it's really shown. He's got 9 more points than anyone else on the Lightning team. He stands head and shoulders above that Lightning's offense as the offensive leader on the team, and he has embraced that role in more ways than I can even quantify. And I think that, the Lightning were an overlooked team at the beginning of the season. People didn't expect much from a team losing their best player of all time in franchise history. And Nikita Kucherov had to step up for the Lightning to remain in playoff contention, and he has done that. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And I think that if things keep going like this, the Lightning will remain in playoff position. I fully expect the Lightning to get themselves a wild card spot a lot of that is going to hinge on the play of Nikita Kucherov, and as he continues to break franchise records and surpass Lightning legends on their leaderboards. And I think that if the Lightning get to the playoffs, we're going to see another 100-point season from Nikita Kucherov. And I think that him leading a team that was not expected to be a serious playoff contender, and in my opinion, an eventual dark horse in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's going to mean a Hart Trophy for Nikita Kucherov. I still expect that for him. It was something I predicted in the beginning of the season, and I also expect him to hop up on the Lightning's leaderboards. He'll get to 5th in games played. He'll get to, I think there's a real chance that he'll get to 3rd in goals, and he'll definitely get to the top 2 in assists. He might not pass Hedman this season, but I think it's a definite possibility. And a lot of that is going to start with his 900th point against the Penguins tonight. So we will look out for that. But until then, I'm Josh Sperber, thanking all of you for tuning in to Locked On Lightning and making Locked On Lightning your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And again, thank you for listening to Locked On Lightning. Please give us a like, a follow, a subscription on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We really appreciate the support, and we do the show for you guys. So thank you guys for supporting and liking our stuff. Until tomorrow, I'm Josh Sperber. Have a great day and go Bolts.